yeah, everybody that has shown up for the appointment's been very engaged. I haven't had anybody, like 2 minutes in say, oh, this is, not what I expected, or, we've gotten through every first call. Like I said, there's really only been one guy that's kind of been iffy about scheduling the second. So yeah, for the most part, going really good.
Awesome. We're getting booked appointments on the calendar. So Steve, real quick, I know I asked you before, you have like 5 million plus in your pipeline. It's only like a month or so in the program. You're just getting booked
Right.
appointments every single month on your calendar. And I know you're also taking advantage of doing joint work as well, which is super helpful, right? Could you give me an idea? How does this compare compared to like maybe some of the other things you might have tried in the past? What were some of the things you tried in the past, by the way?
Well, being an independent, I mean, I've obviously done the whole, getting leads, chasing down leads, trying to get appointments on my own, which is sometimes you do well, but that can sometimes be pretty challenging. So just finding the number of people to talk to, I have found that once I get in a conversation with somebody, my conversion rate's pretty good, fairly high, but it's just getting the people to talk to. And by having the appointments already set, and you have a high percentage of those that actually do show up for the appointment, gives you a very good opportunity to get those in the process and get the business closed.
100%. Awesome. Yeah, man, like my goal is that we're testing how good the appointment is, right? Like, do they have to actually move over in the first place? They have a minimum of 100,000. So you're saying they have a minimum of 500,000, 700, right? And the second is, do they have the intent to actually speak to you? They actually want to speak to an advisor. And you see both of those happening, right?
Correct.
Awesome.
And that's very important too, because just because you get somebody to agree to an appointment with you, like when I've done it myself,
yeah,
they get on the appointment and they either maybe don't have a huge asset base, or maybe it's something they weren't expecting. So, in these appointments, they know what they're going to be talking about for the most part. And of course, we still want to dig. We still want to find out other needs they've got and, see what their whole motivation is for talking to us. But we're going in knowing, hey, this person's engaged us with a specific interest, and here's what they're working with. So it makes it a lot easier to just get to the meat of that conversation.
They're very receptive and they want to speak with someone, right? So it makes it easier conversation when the appointment you're having and the other guy on the other side of the screen is actually wanting to speak with you, right? You're not paying for a dollar lead and hoping they're to answer, so this is way different, right? It's a high intent virtual appointment, and that's why we're always testing the quality of the appointments and making sure it's better and better. If you had to say maybe a few advice, or if you had to say a few things, maybe I have a few advisors on the fence looking at us, maybe someone I've spoken to before in the past. If you had to say a few things to that advisor to get them off the fence and get them working with us and start having some success like you, what could you say to that person so that he can start working with us?
Yeah, I think the big thing would just be what's the value of your time? Because if it takes you, let's say, a 60-hour work week, which for independent advisors, I'd say is pretty common, right? So, and you get 10 appointments, and those appointments, maybe only 2 or 3 show up, that's 60 hours of time that you only got, 2 or 3 appointments, and maybe one of those leads to business. By getting a good number of preset appointments for you every month, it frees up your time to do other things, to prospect other areas, to work other parts of your business if you're doing other things. And it gives you a set schedule, because when that appointment's booked, and what you're going to be talking about. So it makes it a heck of a lot easier to just do it that way than to try and track that down yourself. And just
Exactly.
as a time saving component and efficiency, it's
Yeah,
a really good way to go.
the goal is to make it more efficient. Just virtual appointments on the calendar. The time you spend to drive, 40 minutes to an hour to someone else's house, get 5 appointments in
Yep.
that, right? And we take care of all that
Right.